Hey guys, Jake the Sports here. Wishing you a happy 4th of July. This is my first video back from the horrible Bills loss. Obviously, it's been a while since then. I told you guys I wasn't going to be back on the channel for a while, and I wasn't really planning to upload at all, really, but the college football world has been spiraling out of control. I mean, the conference realignment has been crazy. And my Irish are right in the middle of it. There have been a lot of rumors. Obviously, if you have been following college football at least somewhat over the past few days, you know that UCLA and USC are going to be joining the Big Ten. And, I mean, it sounded really weird when I heard it, but obviously I've heard those talks before. I think just the one thing I really don't like about it is just the distance. I mean, they're literally on the West Coast. So it's gonna be a change. Obviously, it's not gonna be in effect this year, obviously, but I think they're going for 2023. Probably they'll do it whenever Texas or Oklahoma do their thing. And a lot of people have been talking, where's Notre Dame gonna go? And if I'm being real here, Notre Dame probably is the one school with the most power in college football right now. No, I'm not kidding you. Notre Dame could determine the future of where college football goes. That's not an exaggeration. That's literally not an exaggeration. I know I'm very boastful about my school and my team, but let's be honest here. I mean, they are a blue blood. They are a traditional college football program. They're up there with Texas, Ohio State, whoever you want to throw in there. Obviously, Texas always loves talking about being a blue blood because they suck now. But Notre Dame, even though they're good now, they have a lot of tradition. And that's mainly why we've been independent for so long, is because of that tradition. So it's really going to be up to Notre Dame here, and I'll get into it more. But there's really three conferences with the most power right now, and two of them are splitting off from one. The SEC and the Big Ten are slowly building themselves up while the ACC is staying stagnant. At this point, with USC and UCLA gone, I mean, Pac-12 and Big 12 are down here. I don't know where the Group of Five is going to go into this. Obviously, a lot of Group of Five teams are joining the Big 12 now, so they're going to be kind of lowered, and it's like everyone else is going to be lower. It's just there's a larger gap, essentially, between the SEC, Big 12. They're building the gap between everyone else, and the ACC is right in the middle right now. We don't know. And here's the thing. It's going to be, for Notre Dame, it's going to be either independent, which at this point is looking like the least likely outcome, Big Ten, or ACC. I've seen a lot of people think they're going to go to the ACC, but there's a lot of downside. Obviously, I've talked about it before, but they're not legally obligated, or they're contractually obligated to stay with the ACC until 2036. But that's a load of bull crap. They can just, they can pay the money and get out of the deal. If you're going to be making Big Ten TV deal money, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to the money they're going to have to pay to get out of it. So that's not an issue, in my opinion. And from what it looks like, I mean, especially with USC joining now, everything looks Big Ten if Notre Dame were to join a conference. Everything is better if you go to the Big Ten, whether that be geography. I know, obviously, you travel out to USC anyways, though, every year. So that helps. And I think that was strategical by the Big Ten to pick up USC. I think that really entices Notre Dame to join their conference. Obviously, we were going to join in 1999, but Michigan, with their big ego, said no, Notre Dame's not going to join. Michigan may not have a choice this time because Notre Dame can get into whatever conference they want. I don't care what you say. Any conference will accept them. I just don't see them going to the SEC. They just don't really fit there. I don't know what. I just don't think the SEC is going to go picking for northern schools, really. I think they're going to expand out west. So that really leaves Notre Dame in an interesting spot. If you look at the ACC side, obviously, I mean, they're kind of already halfway in it. And that's really the only thing benefiting the ACC. But why Notre Dame has so much power here is because if they join the ACC, that's gonna entice the other schools, the other big names like Clemson, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina, even with their football program. I know or with their basketball program, sorry. Their football program's a little iffy, but their basketball program is undoubtedly one of the best. So it's going to be interesting to see, I mean, that they'll probably stay if Notre Dame stays, but if Notre Dame books it for the Big Ten, that basically crumbles the ACC at that point, in my opinion. That will crumble the ACC, in my opinion, because at that point, Miami, all the bigger schools in the ACC are going to be like, why are we still in this conference if Notre Dame just freaking booked it out of the ACC? The ACC is going to be in hot water if Notre Dame does not join their conference, and right now it's not looking like it. It's just not. I'm just going to be honest. And honestly, I don't want them to join the ACC because then we're screwed. If we join the ACC, then we're screwed, basically. The ACC is headed for, they're headed for Big 12 town. That's where it's looking like right now they're going to go and what they're going to be in the future, in my opinion. It's just facts. It's just facts. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC, they're grabbing big names, like big names at this point. And all the big schools in these smaller conferences, or these conferences that aren't expanding, they're joining these bigger conferences that are expanding. So naturally you'd think Notre Dame would join the Big Ten. And I think that's who they're going to join. But if Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, the ACC is going to fall. All of it's going to fall down. And I'm not saying Florida State, Miami, Clemson, you guys are screwed. You'll probably just join the SEC or something. But that's why Notre Dame's one decision is so powerful here. Because the ACC could be elevated up, maybe not to the level of the Big 12 or the SEC, but they at least have their head above water. But if Notre Dame rejects the ACC's offer and joins the Big Ten, you guys are screwed. You actually are. You are legitimately screwed. You are headed for Big 12 town, and you are going to be closer to a Group of 5 school than you are going to be an SEC or a Big 10 school. That's just what's going to happen. Obviously, this is a college football channel mainly, or football channel mainly, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the basketball conferences as well. I'd imagine, I'd imagine they join the Big Ten for all that. At this point, I don't think they're going to stay independent, but I think it's more likely that they stay independent than join the ACC, honestly. Right? For real. I'm not even lying. I really have no clue, though. I could not tell you for certain what Notre Dame's going to do, and this is coming from a Notre Dame fan. I have no clue what they're going to do. I hope they join the Big Ten or stay independent. Just don't join the ACC. That thing is a train wreck waiting to happen. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. They need to get out of that immediately. Your guys' contract sucks. With TV deals, it's terrible. It's terrible. So they need to get out of that immediately and find some way to join the Big Ten. Join the Big Ten. It makes sense on pretty much every level. The TV deals, great. The rivalries, great. I mean, Michigan, USC, those are the two big ones that stand out. We're playing Ohio State soon. That could be a brewing rivalry coming up. I know Caleb loves that. He's my great friend. He's a big Ohio State fan. He'd love Notre Dame to join the Big Ten, and so would I, because it's great. It's gonna be Big Ten versus SEC football at this point going forward. That's just what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be, and we have to accept it. So Notre Dame at this point, they can't keep standing around. I'll be honest. I'm even with people on this. Notre Dame can't be doing this one foot in, 1 foot out thing. You got to pick something and go with it. Even if that's being independent, pick something and go with it. They need to make the decision soon, though, because whatever Notre Dame does, that's going to dictate how these other pieces fall. I guarantee it. Everyone's waiting on the big Notre Dame decision. Everyone's waiting on it. Notre Dame they're the big kid on the street right now. Everyone wants them. Everyone wants them. Just be honest with yourself. Everybody wants Notre Dame. And they're waiting on Notre Dame's decision. Notre Dame's the only thing saving the ACC at this point. So for all you ACC fans that have been laughing at Notre Dame, that have been telling me how terrible Notre Dame is, yeah, your conference is going to be decided by my school's decision. Just let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in. Notre Dame's decision is going to dictate whether the ACC survives as a... they'll obviously survive after this. They're not going to die out. But they're going to be like the Big 12. They're not going to be relevant. That's just the fact. That's the fact of the matter. When you pick up BYU, you know you're not relevant. And that's what the ACC is going to be if Notre Dame doesn't join their conference, and I don't think they will. There's not much enticing Notre Dame at this point to stay with the ACC. I'm sorry. There's just not. So, if you took anything away from this video, I think it's that Notre Dame is probably going to join the Big Ten. And if they do join the Big Ten, the ACC is screwed. They're gonna drop down to relevance with Pac-12 and Big 12 football. If Notre Dame stays independent, I really don't know. We won't know at that point because that's what they are right now. They're independent. If they decide to stay independent, I have no clue for you. I have no clue. And if they join the ACC somehow, which would be horrible. If you decide to join the ACC, I'm done. That's terrible. That's a terrible decision. But if they decide to stay with the ACC, or if they decide to go with the ACC, they're probably going to, the ACC will survive in some form or capacity. They'll keep all their member schools, but they won't be expanding much. And they'll have their head above water at least. And they'll be relevant, somewhat relevant. They're not going to be on the level. Notre Dame isn't going to elevate them up to the level of SEC or Big Ten football. It's just not going to. But they'll be relevant still. They'll still be relevant. But, it's in my opinion, as a Notre Dame fan, it's most likely that we're going to stay independent or join the Big Ten. I'd give it like a 50% chance we join the Big Ten, a 40% chance we stay independent, and a 10% chance we join the ACC. I just don't see us joining the ACC, honestly. But it's been crazy. That one domino that fell again, it's just what realignment is just dominoes falling. That's what it is. And Notre Dame's the next domino. People are waiting for it to fall. We'll see what it is. But Notre Dame, I can guarantee you they're probably going to make a decision soon. I'm hoping it's the Big Ten. And, I heard people talking. They're going to wait to... I heard rumors that they're going to try to... If the Big Ten gets Notre Dame, they're also going to try to add Oregon or something. I don't know what that's about. But we'll see. I really don't care as long as we're in the Big Ten or we stay independent. Because I'm a big tradition guy. But I'm also about building tradition for the future of this program. That's what I'm also about. So, we'll see. I'm hoping that Notre Dame makes the right decision. I hope they take their time on this, but act in a timely manner. This should be at the top of your priority list right now. You're probably going to be joining a new conference. So, get it right. Thank you guys for watching here on Jake Does Sports. I don't know when the next video is going to come out here. But yeah, this is a big decision by Notre Dame. We'll see what happens. Roll Irish. See you guys later.